Hi, this is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to this week's Hidden Wealth Solution Review, where I want to talk to you about the Build Back Better tax bonanza. You know, I had Grover Norquist that came out on Fox News with Maria Bartiromo, and he put it so eloquently. It talks about this massive tax spending bill, this Build Back Better BS that many of us see it for exactly what it is, that it's only going to affect billionaires. Well, folks, it may start with billionaires, but it's going to be, as he puts it, trickle-down taxation. And here's what he means. He talks about how when federal income taxes were proposed, it was going to be a 7% tax rate for those in today's dollars making over $11 million. Well, clearly there's a lot of people in today's dollars making less than $11 million that are paying way more than 7%, and we see that with our tax and planning team on a weekly basis. Well, folks, I want to teach you what you can do to get a head start in being tax smart for 2022. Go to retirementprotected.com, that's retirementprotected.com, and learn what clients like your friends and family, neighbors, etc., all around this country have been learning about being tax smart as it relates to learning what they can do in 2022. Because, see, taxes are coming in different shapes and sizes, and whether we're talking about a multitude of different tax councils or foundations, when you raise corporate taxes, that transfers to the laborer, the consumer, right? Higher cost in goods, lesser wages, and clearly when we're fighting higher taxes, number one, clearly higher cost of living with inflation, number two, and then all the uncertainty of what the tax cost is going to be with this overheated stock market that many of you are reaching out saying, look, what do I do to protect myself so I have the most protection to the downside, if not learning how to possibly even eliminate the downside, but still having strong upside, especially with having to now fend off inflation, to outfox inflation, because inflation now has hit a 40-year high, going all the way back. The highest that's been higher than this was 1982 at like 7.1, and we hit 6.8 last week, year over year, up 7. The cost to live, imagine, is 7% higher. Remember back to what Grover said. They were talking about taxes would only be 7%, which is clearly where about the inflation rate is today, for those in today's dollars making over 11 million. Folks, don't buy the Build Back Better lie. Learn what you can do to protect yourself. Go to retirementprotected.com. That's retirementprotected.com, and learn how now. You've worked hard for your money. Imagine a plan that insulates your income and your assets from Uncle Sam. Why is the asset part important, Chuck? Well, the other thing they're proposing is like they have the removal and step up in basis, where they want to tax. See, you'll hear Grover talk about this if somebody caught this piece. It's unconstitutional for a wealth tax, but it's not unconstitutional for changing income tax. So what they'll do is they'll camouflage, right, another income tax to basically take shape of the indirect form of a wealth tax. And when they do that, folks, what they're talking about is, now picture this, is if your house today, as he uses the example, is now worth $10,000 higher now at the end of this year than it was at the beginning of this year, then they want a tax on that, and without you having to liquidate the asset, right? Well, you didn't profit $10,000 unless you sold your house or unless you refinanced, but they want a piece of that, folks, and they realize they need all the pieces they can get with all this tax spending annihilation that they're proposing, because there's no way to pay for it all without bamboozling the public with this Build Back Better bamboozle BS nonsense. Folks, you've worked hard for your money. Get to work. retirementprotected.com, retirementprotected.com.